Now let's take a sec and look at poly painting and how we're going to kind of really, in my opinion, quickly, very quickly rough out this texture. And so much so that we're just going to establish almost everything and leave the rest for Photoshop. So it's a very simple process. Our model's already posed and the expression already set. So I usually like to work with matte cap gray, or actually, sorry, in this case I'm going to work with skin shade. That's a really nice material for doing this. We're going to use standard brush, we're going to use color spray, and we're going to use alpha, I think it's 23 is the one I like. Now in the stroke palette we need to set our color intensity variance to 0.05 or 1. What this does is establish the degree to which the color spray is going to randomize its intensity. So if I set this to 1 and go ahead and draw on the surface, then I'll get a lot of variation. Let's just set the base tone and see what that means. I'm going to set this towards the neutral side, about there, and go to the color palette, fill object. Make sure RGB is set all the way to 100. And now let's take a look at color spray. Let's just set this to red. And if I not sculpt on the model, but actually paint on it, we can see a lot of color variation. It's going from white, black, red, all of that. Too much. What we really need is to have it vary significantly less. So 0.05 is good. Now I'm going to turn all the subtools off just to make this easier. Teeth and eyes, because otherwise it creeps me out. And let's just turn their poly painting on. They've already been done. I'll show you the eyes. It's kind of a cool trick. Anyways, color variant is set. I'm going to go slightly towards this upper quadrant, just leaving this at its red level. Symmetry is not on. Let's not get too lazy about this. RGB intensity is on the low side. You're brushing lightly over the surface, all over the surface. Consider lowering your draw size at a certain point. I just threw it back up. I'm just trying to get some modeled skin texture on there. This randomizing that it does is really key. You can flip over to blue, just add some variety to it all over. And there's a lot of tutorials online for how to do this. I've tried for a long time to get fairly good results, and this is actually the best result that I've gotten so far in the face, the final result that we're going to see. But the process is relatively benign. It's just a constant. Switch back over to red. Let's go a little bit deeper, darker in the nose area, cheek area, upper lip, and the eye. Touch towards the yellow for the forehead. Back to the red, a little higher. Getting a little bit more white in here all over. Lower that RGB intensity so we can build this up a little bit slower. There, that's nice. That's like a little misting. Let's go up. And we're just establishing our base coat right now. We're going to go in and warm some sections and cool some sections. But slowly and methodically build this up. Let's increase that. I'm going to get a little impatient, which is going to work against me. Lower my draw size, increase my my RGB intensity, and get a finer mist to this. You can hear my Wacom scribbling away furiously. Let's go back and get some color variation to this. Really like the lip stain, really cool like that. But I'm going to go a little bit redder and really focus on the cheeks for this red misting, the nose. Right here into the eyes, upper lip. Pull this out a little bit along the cheek, and then take this a little cooler, more into the purple. And in this area, we're going to start to get the eye area, where it's just going to be a little bit more cool, little bit less warm. Let's try these lips. Really get these nice and done up. Just get some purple all over the place in some areas. Then we're going to come back over this with white. So back up, corner, and further up. And that's a little crazy. I'm going to lower that RGB intensity. Go at that a little bit slower. It's kind of a hard color to bring in, that dark. Okay, now we're going to start to go really neutral here for these lips. I want these lips to cool off, but more than cool off, I want them to really just die. I want them to, sorry, that sounded a little dramatic. I wanted them to really just look like they're from the undead. No life in them. It's wise to take the color palette, and then you have a much larger range to work with here. Okay, we're going to really just kill those lips. Death, destruction, chaos is raining from those lips. Oh yeah, a little darker. Oh yeah. And then let's get some really saturated purple in there, just for contrast. And some serious darkness. Okay. Now we gotta switch back to this red, lower draw size. And we need to paint some of that upper lip back to a nice color. Maybe I'm gonna go to this white. I'm clicking in my color swatch, dragging to the canvas to select a color. Very fast way to do that. Boom, 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 boom. And back to a slightly pinker red. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Sweet. All the way in. You could do the same thing with the eyes. Just make them soulless, dead eyes. But really desaturating the heck out of them. Pull that cheek up a little bit and just get that blending. But you see the general approach. Very basic in this sense, and just a matter of approaching it. The sense of subtlety in some areas. Let's give it a little bit of warmth for the chest. I'm going to scatter some warmth around the neck. And more work to do. Looks a little strange without our eyelashes and eyebrows, though. Let's make sure those have their color. Cool. That looks a little bit better. So now another thing to take a look at is how to really quickly just get those eyes suggested and roughed in. So I'm going to select the eye. Awesome. Let's turn it all off. And the process was really very simple. So I'm going to just go to the color swatch, set this to a slightly pinkish color, say fill object. It's good to turn RGB intensity to 100, repeat. Okay. So what we did is standard brush, drag rectangle stroke, and which alpha was it? Should have been alpha 8. And I chose the color. And with symmetry on, and the face showing, just so you know kind of where these are looking. It's able to drag out the eyes. Let's put them a little bit farther. There we go. So let's select instead alpha 15. That's kind of nice. Darken that. And darken that further, and we can just put the iris in the center. Do that a couple of times. Take that way down. And then to get the nice ring around the sides, we can go in with, let's see, alpha 09. And let's switch this over. See if that changes things a bit. You can even press Control 1 to duplicate that stroke. And then this is pretty cool. Where did it go? Alpha 05. Let's add a little yellow in there. God knows what that's going to do. Let's do that again. Looks creepy. So let's go to this color, get it a little bit. So there's some room in there, but pretty basic. If we wanted to go in and add some veins, we can be adding veins with alpha 22, and set that to a slightly reddish, and then just pull out a little bit of veining. Might do a little bit extra here in the corner. polygon count's pretty low on those eyes. Oof, 12,000 polys. But it's actually working okay. Looks pretty scary. Let's show everything, except for that face. And you can see we're starting to piece it all together. So there's more subtlety to be worked on and to adjust and figure out, but we are definitely on our way.